All right, let's start. Okay. Good morning, everybody. We are at the end of Hilchos Yom Kippurim, Taf Reish Chaf Daled, Seder Motzai Yom Kippurim, Uvohe Seifim. So, Aleph, Mispalim Tfilas Arvis, V'omer Havdala B'chonin Hadoas. We talked before about Ne'ilah, and then afterwards you daven Maariv, and you say Havdala and Chonin Hadoas. Now, the Mefarshim explain here that the reason why you daven Maariv is because of Chonin Hadas. That's really what we're being told here. Because otherwise, what's the chiddush? Why is this being pointed out more so than any Matzah Shabbos, Matzah Yantav? So that's really what's going on here. The Bavli is so same like Rav that you don't daven Maariv because Ne'ilah counts as Maariv. And the Yerushalmi argues on that and brings other shittas that you do daven Maariv. And there's two reasons as to why there would be this machlokas. So one reason is because, well, yes, Ne'ilah can be davened at nighttime. Part of Ne'ilah, at least, for sure, is davened at nighttime. And so you had a tefillah at night. But the reason for saying, well, even though you did Ne'ilah, you would still have to do Maariv, is because, well, yeah, that was a Yom Kippur service. That was a Yom Kippur tefillah. And you'd be missing out on Chonin Hadas. You'd be missing out on the Havdala that you say in Shemana Esrei, separating Yom Kippur to now Chol. And so one of the reasons why you say it's Tfilas Arvis is because you need to get the Chonin Hadas. You need the Havdala and Chonin Hadas. It's the whole reason for saying Maariv. The other shita as to why you would say it is because no, you can't say tefillah, you can't say Ne'ilah at night. Therefore, you didn't have a tefillah at night, so that's why you would have to do Maariv. But in any event, surprisingly, we paskin like the Yerushalmi. We don't paskin like Rav in the Bavli, and we all daven Maariv Matzah Yom Kippur, and we also say Chonin Hadas. Beis Tzarich Losov Mechol Al HaKodesh Gam B'Yitziyaso. Just like we saw that there was a mitzvah of Tosefes Yom Tov by Yom Kippur. In fact, Yom Kippur is the makor for Tosefes Yom Tov and Tosefes Shabbos because it says Me'erev ad Erev Tishpasu Shabbatchem. All right, but Tisha B'Erev Me'erev ad Erev. So that's where we learn that it has to be a little bit in the beginning. But since it says ad Erev, we're learning at the same that applies beforehand to make it before the Erev. So too, you have to add on a little bit at the end. So you have to be Moshe Mechol Al HaKodesh. And this would then be, if we're learning that from this pasuk, that's actually a din d'oraisa. Gam b'tziyah, so even at the end of Yom Kippur, she'emtina ma'at achar yitzias hakachavim. You should wait a little bit until after Tzeis HaKochavim. So it doesn't have a share. But you just have to be for sure that it's after Tzeis HaKochavim, and then you were most at least a little bit, and then it would be Oyis Yom Kippur. Now, regarding what do you have to wait? So, regarding malacha and regarding eating and drinking. Yeah, it's also Asr and Rechitza and Sicha. All of the halachas of Yom Kippur would be Asr until that little extra that you add on. If you end up davening Efetzeis, so you're mutter right away, even if you didn't make Havdal on the coast. But if you did Maariv, if you said Maariv after that little bit after Tzeis, so the Mishnah Berurah points out, you would still be Asr Achilas Shasiyah, even though the other Inuyim would have fallen away. But Achilas Shasiyah is Asr until after you make Havdalah, like on any Matzah Shabbos. Gimel, Mavdilan al Hakos, Ve'en Mavarcham al Besamim, Afilu Im Chol Leos B'Shabbos. We make Havdala on a coast, so that's already two brachas, like on any Matzah Yom Tov, which would be Al Gafen and Havdala, the bracha of Havdala. But the two middle brachas is interesting. In one regard, Yom Kippur is like Yom Tov, is like any other Yom Tov. And in another regard, Yom Kippur is like Shabbos. So let's see. We don't make a bracha on B'samim, just like any other Yom Tov, there's no bracha on B'samim. And he says you don't make the bracha on B'samim even when Yom Kippur falls out on Shabbos. Now the reason for not making the bracha on B'samim, because that's to be machzir your neshama yisera. And considering that you didn't eat at all on Yom Kippur, so you wouldn't have a neshama yisera. So it's not like you had the neshama yisera and then now at the end of it you're losing it. So in order to restore yourself, you have to smell the B'samim. That doesn't apply to Yom Kippur. So that thinking that because you didn't eat, so that's the thinking that says so that even when Yom Kippur falls out on Shabbos, so then because you didn't, even though it was Shabbos, you still didn't eat. But the common minhag is to say the bracha on B'samim when Yom Kippur falls out on Shabbos. Because a lot of the Achronim say that when it falls on Shabbos, you can definitely make the bracha on the B'samim. It wouldn't be a bracha levatala because you're actually smelling B'samim. So there's no chashash of a bracha levatala. And these Achronim, so it's not like, you're not chayiv and you're saying a bracha, but they're saying, these Achronim are saying that you should make the bracha on B'samim, and that is the common minhag amongst Ashkenazim for sure.
Even on Shabbos?
Only on Shabbos. Even if Yom Kippur even if Yom Kippur was Shabbos, then you would say the bracha on B'samim. If it's not Shabbos, for sure you don't, because there was no neshama yisera. But so it could be that there's, even though you didn't eat, that there still is a neshama yisera for Shabbos. Even though you didn't have the oneg Shabbos, that there's still a neshama yisera. And since you're not going to be over bracha levatala, these Achronim say that you should make the bracha when it falls out on Shabbos. And again, that is the common minhag. Okay, that's enough. Here's the interesting one. Dalet, Mavarcham al ha'or. You do make a bracha on Borei Maariv ha'esh. In that regard, Yom Kippur is like Shabbos, because the reason why you don't say it Matzah Yom Tov is because Yom Tov you were allowed to use an or, you were allowed to cook with fire, you were allowed to, if not create a fire, but at least transfer a fire, right? And that's something you're not allowed to do in Yom Kippur. And to show that over Yom Kippur it was Asur and now it's Mutter, so we make a bracha on the or. Make a bracha of Borei Maariv ha'esh. However, the bracha of Borei Maariv ha'esh that you're making Matzah Yom Kippur is different than the Borei Maariv ha'esh that you're making on Shabbos. And on Kippur, we're going to see now that you need a Ner Shabbos, because the whole reason on Yom Kippur of making the bracha is because we're showing before on Yom Kippur it was Asur. It was Asur to use fire. There was no heter of Ochel Nefesh like we have on Yom Tov. And now it's Mutter. So we're demonstrating that it's before us and now Mutter. In order to do that, you dafka need a Ner Shabbos. You dafka need fire that was there from before Yom Kippur. Now we're going to see that even if it was created the heter, let's say for a chol, we're going to see on the other side, then that's also you can make a bracha on that. But you're trying to show that which was, you need a flame that was around beheter, so that you can show this flame I couldn't have used and now I can. But a flame that you create now doesn't have that koach, because it's not like it was around before and you couldn't use it. So that you're using it now shows that it's mutter. You're just creating it. You're creating it now. So that's why we definitely need an Eresh Shabbos by Yom Kippur. Now by Shabbos you would think that we also want to demonstrate that, but that doesn't seem to be the reason. You don't need an Eresh Shabbos by Shabbos. There's at least one more reason, is that Adam Harishon learned how to use fire. He was motzi fire from flint stones on Motzei Shabbos. And so we're also, or even that's the main reason, on Shabbos we're doing that. That's why you don't need an Eresh Shabbos on Shabbos. So, we don't make a bracha on Bar Eish on a flame that you created now from flint stones, the Mishnah Berurah says, or from matches. The sulfur of matches. And there are those that say, and so this is a machlokas, that you can make a bracha not on the flame that you created now from striking a match or using flintstones, but after that lit a flame, you can then light another flame from that, and then you can make a bracha on that one. Because that second one, that Amud Rishon, that the first flame that comes from a flame that was created now, was not created now. So it doesn't have that problem of negating an Eresh Shabbos. It wasn't something that you created. It's not a flame that was created, but a flame that came from something else that was created. But that's a machlokas.
Do we hold that for there if you don't have one?
Yeah. Hey, Yisrael shidlik me'obed kachavim, ein levarach melov matzah Yom Kippurim. To light a flame from something that was lit by a goy on Yom Kippur, you can't do that. Okay, so we're going to see that you can do it from a flame that was lit beheter for a chola, but a flame that was lit on Yom Kippur by a goy, the way we relate to it is this flame is a flame that was lit be'isser. It just was done by someone who doesn't have the tzivui, right? So he did it for the wrong reasons. He did it to have hana, and it is essentially a ner that was created on Yom Kippur be'isser, even though there was no one who's chayiv on any isser. But that's how we're relating to this flame. So you don't use a flame that was lit by a guy on Yom Kippur. And we're saying now that even if you took another flame from that flame, we wouldn't make a bracha on this. This l'chara is arguing what we saw in Daled, that you can make a bracha on something that was even created now. Because once we're saying that this is not that same flame, what would be the problem in taking a flame from a flame that a guy lit on Yom Kippur? Even though on Motzei Shabbos you could make Borimar Eish on a flame that a guy lit, again because you don't need Ner Shabbos by Shabbos. Mamish, because the only time we make a bracha on Motzei Yom Kippur is an or Shabbos Od Yom, or shehudlik mimenu, or on a flame that was lit from it. And there is a minhag to light a candle from the candles that were lit for on Erev Yom Kippur to be used in the Beit Knesset. Now he's saying that you take a candle from the ones that were lit on the Beit Knesset. What about the actual flames in the Beit Knesset? So there are those that say you should not use that because they were not lit for light. They were lit l'chvod Yom Kippur. By that kind of reasoning, you should not. Maybe you should not use the yahrzeit candle that you typically light for Yom Kippur. Maybe you shouldn't use that because that's not necessarily made for light, especially since you don't sit down to a Yom Kippur meal and enjoy that light. So it was more lit for kavod, not for having light. But it ends up that the Mishnah Berurah says that the actual best thing that you should do is to add another match to another flame to that yahrzeit candle. And now that you have both of them, then you cover all of your bases. Because it was an Ner Sheshavas, and now the new flame is for light, and so you have all of the ingredients. That's actually what the Mishnah Berurah ends up recommending. Back to the Mechaber. Umihu afil imhulak b'yom kippurim. Even if a candle was lit on Yom Kippur, imhulak beheter kagon l'chol. If it was lit beheter, for example, a chol needed it, you can use that for the Ner Sheshavas and make Havdala on the Ner for Yom Kippur. Haga. Yesh am lahavdal al Ner shel Beis HaKnesses. There are those that say that you should make Havdala on the Ner shel Beis Knesses. Yesh omrim she'ein lahavdal alav al lik ner acher mimenu. There are those that say that you should not make Havdala on it because it was not made for light. Instead, you should make another light from it. The best is to light the two of them together. That is, take another match, take another wick, and add it to the one that was lit as a yahrzeit candle or for the Beit Knesset. So the best is to have these two flames. You should have a meal Matzah Yom Kippur. This is a minhag that everybody does. The Havik Sas Yom Tov, but you should, if you have in mind that you're being mekayim what the Ramah writes here, so then you get an extra mitzvah, not just because you're hungry. And he says that you should have this meal because it's a little bit of a Yom Tov. You couldn't have the meal on Yom Kippur, so you're being mechabed the chag this way. There are those people that are machmer to have 2 days Yom Kippur because of Sfeika de Yoma. However, even those who do that, you can be mater neder on this. And however, if you don't have that minhag, if you don't have a tradition for that, you should not in general take on this chumrah, because it's dangerous to fast for 2 days. Most people can't handle it. And therefore, it's not recommended. Now, if you did do that, and you did it because you wanted to fast because of the Sfeika de Yoma, l'chara you have to fast all the time 2 days for Yom Kippur, unless you do the Hatar. He says that there's Hataras Nadar. And you would have to go to 3 people and find the Pesach. Had I known, I wouldn't have done it, whatever. However, we're going to see now, if you just happen to end up fasting a second day, you fasted the day after Yom Kippur because, let's say, you had a bad dream. So then you're not doing it because of Sfeika de Yoma. Then there's no tzad. You don't even have to be mater neder. There's no tzad that you never took it on to fast a second day. And you don't have to fast the rest of your days because that's clear that wasn't because of Yom Kippur. The days after Yom Kippur until Sukkot are happy days. We just got a kapara, complete kapara. So we don't say certain bakashas, and we don't say if Shabbos in between Yom Kippur and Sukkot, you wouldn't say tzidkascha by mincha. Miyom Kippur ad Sukkos. The Mishnah Berurah adds on another number of things that we don't say. Below prakim, we don't start Pirkei Avos yet, and it's not like you don't have to. It's more like you shouldn't, because the reasons behind when you say Pirkei Avos and when you say Baruch Nafshi and the Shir Hamalos are related to the Chagim. So you want to, and because of the summer, you want to say Pirkei Avos. Because of the long days, the Yetzer Hara gets stronger in the summer. So you want to counterbalance that with the Pirkei Avos. All of those reasons don't apply during that period between Yom Kippur and Sukkot. So you don't say Pirkei Avos, you don't say Shir Hamalos, but Lam Natseach Asher V'Letzion you do say V'Kel Arach Chaim Omrim. That's the Mishnah Berurah. Since we're already reading the Mishnah Berurah, he also says, Erev Sukkot, you don't say Lam Natseach, but you do say Kel Orach Chaim. Okay. V'amedaktikim, back in the Ramah, v'amedaktikim maskilim miyad b'motzei Yom Kippur v'asiyas hasukkah. There is medaktikim, and it is a fairly common minhag, to start right away, Motzei Yom Kippur, start doing something towards building the sukkah. I usually take the boards down from the boidim. That's, as long as you start, you're showing you're going michal achayil. Ve'elatzes mi mitzvah el mitzvah, you want to go straight from one mitzvah to another. We'll start Hilchos Sukkah tomorrow.